Okay, what's up, everybody? Welcome for another week of the Roundtable.
Hi, Darren, Josh, Eric. Good to see you guys again.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you guys.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm glad Josh is here this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have you, brother.
Yeah,
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, so we could kind of talk a little bit about what you guys were talking about prior to us hitting the record button. Maybe if you want to start us off, Victor, maybe if you feel called.
Oh yes, I something that came up a couple of days ago. Well, it came up weeks ago, but I brought it up to Josh, and Josh and I were kind of discussing it through our various channels. We were not discussing it direct. Well, we were talking one-sided to each other about it, and we thought this might make a great topic. So what it comes down to, as the vibrational frequency of the planet increases, we were just discussing even noticing a lot of, fewer trolls, fewer things that bother us. Even in the news, it's like the news cycle will come out and say, the powers that be. We'll just say the powers that be that want to keep us divided as a human race, as a race, a surface dweller, however you want to call it. When you think about it, they come out, oh, here's a new sensation thing. Here's something for you to be upset about. And you're kind of just like, yeah, no, thanks. I'm not going to put any energy towards that. And so it really localizes the effect of it. However, where I'm going with this is I believe that things are getting easier and easier for us on the spiritual side, meaning we might need or require less alchemy to do things that things that 10 years ago took 13 steps that you would do to, say, cleanse your stones. Okay. That's just a perfect example. I think a lot of that is becoming, and I think it could be, I'll say it that way, could be becoming unnecessary. And that's what I want to discuss with all of you, are things getting easier for us? It's like I say on my show, you have that choice whether you keep your energy out there that you just sent out there, or you can pull it back if you're not quite ready, if you're not at that stage. Whereas 10 years ago, I'd do something for 10 minutes of energy work and I'd be wiped out. And then slowly, as I did it more frequently and more frequently, I got stronger and stronger. But now I think people are taking a big jump in their energetic ability. So where do you guys stand on that? Do you think that as the frequency increases on the planet, that things are getting easier for us? Or do you think everything is still necessary? All those steps, all those esoteric steps.
Who wants to take it first? I can, or any of you guys.
I'm going to say hi to a few people then while you guys decide. Bath Maven, good to see you. Heaney, Millie, of course. PG, good to see you. And Legendary Princess. Awesome. Thank you guys for being here.
Yep. Thanks everyone who's here. I'll go. I mean, as far the question is, what's all that stuff really necessary to begin with, or do we just create all that ritual in the first place? Like, do you really need to, if you want to use the violet flame, do you really need to sit down and watch a 30-minute incantation to take you to Telos and go into a chamber, or you just turn on the violet flame? If you want to clear your energy.
Is it easier now, though? I'm not saying was it necessary back then. I'm saying now is that necessary? Is that 30 minutes necessary?
No, none of that's necessary. Has it ever really been necessary is the question to begin with. I mean, it's not necessary now. No. And if you want to ground yourself, just go outside and ground. If you want to do anything, you just do it immediately. There's no ritual needed. We made it all up to begin with. If everything emulates through us in the first place, then we made it all up to begin with. Did it even need to exist? We made it, humans like ritual. We like to do things in ritualistic ways because it makes us feel comforting. It's comfort. And so maybe part of that is comforting, but no, none of it. We're making it all up as we go along anyways, because we're just pouring it out of us to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, a lot of, especially a lot of us Caucasian folks, we come from a predominantly Christian background and lineage, so we're, even in our genetics, we're used to the whole rigmarole and show and all that of like a sermon and everything else with a church service. So I could see that being integrated along the way into different spiritual practices later on as people turned to new age practices like, oh, we have to church does it this way, whether subconsciously or consciously. Church does it this way, so now we have this new way of doing it for ourselves. It's got to look a certain way. So,
Damn, I love everybody's perspective, man. I like, I like, of course I got something to add to it different,
Sure, bring it, man.
but I love I love like everybody's different, viewpoints and everything. It's really cool to hear that. Well, I gotta say, well, anyways, Eric, were you finished, by the way?
yeah, no, I was
Oh, okay.
done.
Well, I think just like anything else, because as you guys, well, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I'm doing another breathwork facilitator training right now. It's like an 8-week deep dive with this guy who's like world renowned deep diver, has held his breath over 20 minutes,
Wow.
Guinness Book of World Records and all this kind of stuff. And the reason I bring that up is because it's kind of the similar thing. Like, we were never taught, I think, in general, and I do believe there's people on the planet that know these different things to do and how to do things quicker and faster. And it's same thing with the breath. I think about, if I was taught as a child how to properly breathe, I feel like things would have been different for me. Kind of in the same similar thing as what you're referring to, like I remember growing up and there being books upon books about anxiety and DVDs, a million of them, and you're like, okay, like, am I ever going to get out of this thing? Like, you expect me to like listen to 30 DVDs to understand what I'm experiencing, and I'm going through like survival mode and whatever. And it's kind of the similar thing, almost like making things so complicated so that there could be a level of control still. I do feel like I resonate with that very hard. I resonate that there's been a lot of control here. And I think about it, if all these people know how to breathe properly, why weren't we taught in schools? Why are we taught these stupid, electives that we'll never use, or different things we'll never use, instead of something valuable like how to breathe properly?
Dude,
They don't want us to know the valuable stuff. They don't want you to know the valuable stuff.
No. I mean, it's like, and it was so interesting. He posted an infant that was like 5 months old on his Instagram page, and he was telling us about it on the Zoom call on Wednesday. And this baby was like literally had no trauma, no nothing. It was breathing like perfectly into the belly, where the belly was coming out and out. You could he had it on video where you were watching this baby just breathe, and the way they were breathing so deep, breaths in and out and everything, And for me, I was mouth breathing. I was in survival mode. I was in fight or flight all the time, shallow breathing. And now, it's taken me many, many years to get where I am now. And I am such an advocate for help teaching the kids, and hopefully it getting into school systems and, but anyways, besides that, I'm getting back to what you guys were saying. I feel like, things have been made very complicated to keep us in fear and control, at the end of the day. And it really is that easy, even like communicating with your higher self or your guides, or, most people are completely disconnected from that, and they don't even know that it even exists. So yeah, through like what you said, religion, Eric, I mean, all this different stuff, like just the continuous brainwashing and, programming, and
we're taught that everything is very difficult.
Yeah. And it's going to be hard. Yeah. Life is difficult. Everything. Yeah. You're right. 100%. Yes.
And most of it is done to make us better taxpayers. Why do you think they destroyed the family, the global families, to make, to add another taxpayer?
Yeah, and run up credit cards, so you have like tons and tons of debt, and go to school with tons of debt where you don't end up using any of it, and
yeah, no, I mean, to your point, Victor, like everything's way easier than the news media and everything else puts it. Like even engineers and all of us scientists that overthink everything. Like the easiest solution, I saw a post on Instagram. One of the easiest solutions to like our ecology problem with the environment and everything, if we stopped watering barren lawns and instead started watering these lush natural like gardens that produced food and had all these like natural plants to the region, and then there's in it's not Sudan, I believe it's Niger, but there's been a huge exodus of people out of Niger or out of Sudan into Niger because of war and all that stuff. And instead of the government like forcing those people into like camps and like treating them poorly and all that stuff, they're opening up this entire like desert to them, basically saying, hey, if you guys like transform this with these certain techniques and till the land, in the past 10 years, they've noticed that the land itself there is now becoming lush, and there's all these foods and all this natural life is coming back in just because of simple techniques they're using to till and maintain the land. And now all these people who've been displaced from Sudan have this lush, no longer desert, but this lush, vibrant ecosystem that they can live in and continue their lives in. And it's as easy as just changing how we treat the land and what we plant.
I've got a great ad for that. About 10 years ago in Oklahoma City, they took a ran down neighborhood. I think Josh knows this from being in Chicago. And well, you're in Chicago too, Eric. Yeah.
Yeah.
That you have these areas that are all run down and high crime and no one lives there. But what they did, they still had people living there. But what they did, is they changed the city ordinance to allow people to plant gardens in their front yards. And it changed everything, because all of a sudden, guess what you have? Once that region of Oklahoma City, that those 2 or 3 blocks started planting gardens in their front yards, all of a sudden you have a sense of community. Then you're able to feed one another as well. And then you don't even think about the environmental aspects of it. If we change that paradigm from having a great lawn, and this goes all the way around to even real estate, the real estate business, the business of real estate. Hey, let's make the paradigm more attractive to have a fertile soil in your front yard instead of it being all groomed, tons of pesticides. And I was telling Scotty Boy earlier, he's a friend of our channels, of Josh and I, and he's very popular out there, and he's a wonderful netizen. And he was talking about all the dandelions in his yard. Well, think what that shows me is you have a healthy ecosystem, at least partially, if you have dandelions in your front yard, because you're not spraying, you're not killing stuff. All right. So you have a thriving, possibly a thriving dirt mix or soil there. So think about it. Think about all the aspects of just just that simple, Eric, to your point of putting a garden in your front yard. Then all of a sudden you're out in your front yard working on your garden. Hey neighbor, how's it going, Eric? Hey, you got some corn? I've got some squash. And then Josh has some wheat or in his backyard or something like that. And then guess what? As long as we're not planting with GMO stuff, it's pretty good little, we take ourselves out of the food chain, at least in the United States, take ourselves out of that whole getting all kinds of freaking chemicals and whatever they're pumping into our food supply. So net it's a win as far as I'm concerned.
Well, you know what I heard too, speaking of that, when you said the spraying, and the up in the air and stuff, I heard yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I thought you just said something about spraying our foods and everything like that.
Oh, I just said that in general.
And our spraying ourselves, too, as well. From what I heard somebody, which I was like, okay, this is an interesting way to look at it. I didn't think it was seeing it that way. Maybe some of you in the chat did, or you guys might have. But like to prevent us from activating, like our DNA and our abilities, gifts and everything. Because, obviously the more our DNA strands come online, the more powerful we will realize we actually are, and and society would change, It kind of makes sense as to why they're. Do I agree with it? Hell no. I totally don't agree with it. And I've been trying to figure it out for a very long time, even though I've known about like that Geo website and stuff like that. But anyway, I know I digressed on what you were saying, but yeah, it would be, we'd have like flourishing flowers and plants and but just a healthy planet, a healthy place. Like me and Victor were talking about earlier about that guy that you brought up that's temporarily with Nestle or something like that, where they were speaking of
the new leader of the World Economic Forum.
Yeah, with water not being free and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's not a nice guy. He said that water is not a basic human right, and it's auctioned off to the highest payer.
Yeah,
basically, the one with the most money can have the water. The rest of y'all can drop dead.
Yeah, that chap's
pretty much. Let's be honest. I mean, he's like, if you ain't got the money to pay for it, it ain't my problem. You just die. What do I care?
And notice,
yeah, and if you guys did not notice, and it was speaking of Mr. CEO there's a good picture of him on the internet. We're not gonna talk about the Black Eye Ritual game or anything of the sort, but there is a real interesting picture of him. If you know the Black Eye game, it ties into the Red Shoe game, but we're not gonna go there. But nonetheless, he's got look at his I guess it would be his right eye. So, and it's always right. So look at the right eye on Mr. Nestle there, the New World Health. Yeah, right. Check him out, and I'll leave it alone. But there is another ritual happens depending on whom and where you end up in your universe there on this planet, and what you group you end up with. We're just going to say things in the eye. We'll leave it at that. So there's a real interesting picture where they place things in his eye as well, and that's also a known deal with CEOs and those way up at the top. Things get placed into the body, and in this case, if you look at his eyes, and it's on X there. That's where it was sent to me, and if you look at the picture of his eye, his right eye, it's crazy. There is some sort of worm or something that they placed in there. I really don't know.
Wow.
But the parasite of some sort. And that's not an uncommon thing from what I understand for those in the Black Eye Club and the Red Shoe Club. Then I'll leave it alone from there.
Jeez, that's right out of the X-Files movie right there.
No, pretty much. If you see the picture, he looks we'll just leave it alone. You can go view the results, leave it for itself. And this is a man who's telling you that if you don't have the highest bidder can have his fluoridated cup of water there, right? His acid, and its water is of course no pH. It's actually considered some of the Nestle water, some of the worst water you can drink, and some of the highest plastic content as well. So we'll just leave all that alone.
That's
yeah. No,
and it's got the highest fluoride content of all water too. So some of.
That's disgusting.
It's because it goes beyond disgusting. But yeah.
Well, it's like, my friend was telling me years ago about the plastic, how they put something in there to mess with and hijack your endocrine system,
BPA.
Yeah, maybe that was what it was.
Yeah, it's BPA.
Yeah, to mess with the your nervous system.
Well, I mean, if they're trying to bring people into like an androgenistic state, like in THX 1138, so we're all kind of in this, with the previous agenda that just got smashed with all the trend, the bringing that all forward and trying to make that family forward when it's right. So yeah, if you put BPA and everything, eventually it'll take a couple of generations. You'll start to turn people into these more male-female combo, and thank you. I was trying to find androgynous state. Yeah, like in THX 1 went through. We're all kind of, you can't tell male, female. We're all bald. And eventually that's removing love and all of that, right?
Interesting, man. I had no idea that I knew about the nervous system stuff, but I guess that would cause it as well, because your nervous system is connected to everything, and
exactly.
The more fight or flight you're in, or survival, the more stressed out you are and your body is. And if you're in continuous stress like that, you lose your hair. But then you make them believe that, it's genetic and it's because your father had no hair.
But I mean, We don't know what they're. I mean, fortunately, we were hearing things now from certain places, and whether it happens or not, that they're finally looking to remove seed oils and realizing that these are causing mushy brains and other things that make your brain turn to mush, and that they're finally looking at removing all. So, like if you go to get Skittles, they just all be the same clear color or whatever. So yeah, all the food colorings, because all of this, if you tie it all together. Imagine 3 generations from now if it was all left to play. I'll just leave it at that.
It's brilliant. It's brilliantly insidious.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
I mean, think about it though. Like with all the food colorings gone, like what do you really have on the shelves, like at a gas station? Because probably like majority of every food in that place is food coloring.
Exactly. Exactly. I did a DoorDash to 7-Eleven yesterday, and there was nothing there. There was one thing that I would buy. I mean, really, there's no non-GMO potato chips. There's no non-GMO anything there. Everything's in a plastic container. I stopped drinking out of plastic bottles generally, right? Exactly. If I'm going to drink coffee, I want to drink out of my own cup because I don't need. The moment you pour hot coffee into a coffee cup, how do you think paper doesn't leak coffee? Forever chemicals. And they're still using it. So they're telling you what's goofy is they give you every warning you need. Forever chemicals are on the paper. And then we go buy a cup of coffee at Starbucks. The moment they pour the 500-degree coffee into your 212 degrees into your cup, you release all those forever chemicals. Poof, instantaneously. And so they're telling you all these things, but nobody's doing anything. And all this, of course, could have been eradicated, 90% of it, had we just adopted hemp way back then, but you don't see anybody doing anything now. And they're only talking about like plastic in or forever chemicals and certain things, but you eat cottage cheese. How much plastic are you eating there? You go drink a gallon, right? You see what we're getting, right? You go eat a bag of chips, it's in a plastic bag, right? How much plastic is floating around? So they're not telling what they're doing is they're setting us up, but they're not doing anything to tell you that they're fixing it or anything else. And they're kind of leaving it in play. So it's kind of like they tell us whatever the next grand move is, they tell us through movies and TV and books and culture. So the question is then, if they leave all this in play, and thankfully some of it, we don't really know anything, but some of it is at least being talked about being removed. But if they left all this in play, then what would we be like 3 generations from now?
Yeah. I mean, I agree. And I think that though I feel like for the most part, most of us are on a positive timeline heading. Like, I feel like the things I've been getting when I channel and the things that I've been hearing from others are very similar in a way that things are breaking down and we're heading in the right direction, whatever that may be, to finally eradicate just the powers that be that I think they're at their last it's the last stand, for the spiritual war and everything else. I just can feel it. I feel like there's more energies coming here, like the solar flashes and all this different stuff is off-planet things assisting humanity to keep moving forward as we raise our frequency higher and higher, because the planet's raising it as well, which none of these. And people like Eric too, who does these different Reiki practices on all these different groups, I think that also is causing them to leave and not want to be here and raise our frequency high enough to continue to ascend higher, consciousness. Yeah, I think humanity's wising up and we're fed up,
Speaking of fed up, you're going to have to give us an update about Ishmael, because I don't know who Ishmael is from Adam,
an update
other than you mentioning, but I would love to hear your update.
Well, yeah, he just did another live last night, and
tell us about him first. Remind us.
He's written 2 books, Cosmic Origins and The Secret Government, and I think he came on the scene like 5 or 7 years ago through some guy. He talked about it last week on one of his lives, and he said, I've been following him for years, and I took one of his astrology classes. He does Ascension 2.0 classes and all this different stuff. And he literally talks about the history of the planet. And, he channels a guy named Valiant Thor, who's a part of the Earth Alliance and the Galactic Alliance, if I'm not mistaken, or one of them, or both of them, or anyways, he so yeah, he gets all his information. Most of it is channeled information, or he speaks with like directly to Valiant Thor. He also is associated with the secret space program and everything. And as I said, he wrote those 2 books, which tells the whole history of everything, how everything came about with a guy named Anki and these different beings that I know a lot of people that follow you too. Both of you, all of you, like have said in the chat, they go on his lives and they follow him. Because I've seen it a few times that I brought him up. But anyways, he just was talking yesterday again about the whole thing with the guy in the Vatican, that it was not what we thought it was. I
heard that guy died a long time ago.
Yeah, and there was another one that he said died. Even the I guess the Black Pope. I guess I don't know nothing about this. Like he said that one like in 2012 or something. Or 2017, I'm not really sure. I got to listen to the live again. I don't want to give misinformation, but the exact year I'm not really sure. But it definitely wasn't recent. But this guy, he said that it was planned, and the White Hats were a part of it. So he's saying that this year everything is going to be unfolding, and the Matrix is going to be done by 2028. That the Galactic Alliance is pushing to get all this information out by 2025, no later. And if they don't, they're gonna, meaning all the disclosures and everything, like they have a date, a deadline. And so he said like this. He says there's going to be 3 phases of the solar flash, and one of them is going to be spring, which is going to be the first wave. And he said, make sure that you have your vibration high and your frequency high, as much as you can, so that will be the thing that activates the first wave, which will activate all our strands of DNA and everything, and our gifts and our abilities. And then there'll be 2 more, and I think they're next year, 2026, I think, is what he's saying. And he said he talked a lot about the med beds and how they've been officially announced on April 16th, and they're going to be in, which I was telling you, like 5 states: Florida, Texas, Tennessee, and Montana first. And everyone will have access to it unless you're like some sort of evil person, then you won't have access to it, and it'll be free to everybody. And you can you'll get a brain scan from some brainwave thing. He says that will, if you have any mental things going on that you can't align with the med bed, your frequency, you will then align, and then you'll be able to use it for healing your body. And then essentially he talks about centers, and he talks about humanitarian funds coming to us, and the balance of power and money, and the QFS systems, quantum financial system, us switching over to. I mean, really good stuff that really fills in the gaps of what a lot of people aren't talking about, what in detail. If anybody hasn't followed him, follow him, because he's a genuine individual. I could definitely feel everything he speaks is from the heart, and
so it resonates with you.
Oh, hard. Yeah, no, I wouldn't have taken his classes, and I would not be listening to him as many years as I have. I feel like I'm supposed to be, because I feel like there's some sort of past life connection. Also with the space program and the Galactic Federation. And I also feel that, like you said, the Earth Alliance, like right now, a lot of people can basically say you're ready to be initiated if you want to be a part of the Earth Alliance. But he talks about the Earth, humanity is taking back the Earth. Like, this is our planet, and we're going to take it back, and we're going to be running it and controlling it and everything else,
Well, I hope all that stuff is right.
I mean, because I'll tell you what, it coincides with a lot of people. There's a woman named Diane Cooper. She wrote the book called The Golden Future. Very similar. it talks about further down the line a lot of the same stuff, but I believe we're moving faster, so that's why the timelines keep changing. But we're entering the golden age, and that's like kind of what he talks about. And he says like we're going to be able to leave the planet and come back, and a lot of us are going to be assisting other planets to ascend and coming back, and we're going to see like our past loved ones, and they're already waiting in the new Earth. And I believe all this stuff. You just gotta. I feel like you gotta open your mind and believe that anything is possible, which I do.
Sure.
You
I just
know,
hope the med beds though will be able to help with addiction if it can help.
it
with mental
will. I mean,
health-
that's what
with
they say.
mental
Like
health issues.
these things are so high, like they're we're done from the galactic, whatever, like these higher dimensional beings. And from what I understand, which I've heard from multiple sources, if you have like missing limbs, you can grow your limbs back, and like it's all kinds of stuff, man. I mean, anyways, at the end of the day, everything's frequency and vibration and energy. So why not? Why isn't it? Why couldn't it be possible? They've been using them. The Cabal has been using them for years, like centuries, but not the same ones. Supposedly these ones, you can't like buy them, like be like, oh, I have $1 million, so like now I get access to it. No, it's free for everyone as long as you have a good heart, your heart centered. And that's the way we're moving. Everything is going to be from the heart. Like they can like these quantum systems all can sense your energy and your frequency and what your intentions are. So how can anyone be here that could cause some sort of dark stuff, if it's all measuring your heart and what your intention is, and that's the way I think it should be.
Yeah, sure.
I think we would be in a whole different place right now, and I think we're taking it back. We're finally taking it back. I know something big is happening. I can feel it. I know all of us can.
Well, think about it. Think about each time one of these things is revealed. Think about what happens. Yeah, the truth is kind of sometimes hard to swallow, but you find out about some kind of ring going on, human trafficking ring.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily know the details, but it's bad because it would always be bad on some level or in general. But you think about what that does to our frequency as a planet. Just closing down one group, say one in El Paso or something, you close down that ring, and guess what happens? We might not even know it happened, but the frequency of the entire planet is going to increase.
It's going to increase, yeah.
You're taking that negative energy from all those experiences, you're removing them. So it's wonderful food for thought. And I like to think that's what's happening right now, even though, at least in our country, in the United States, we haven't seen any real action being taken. We've heard a lot. Oh, yeah. And it's more of this, hey, let's wait. Well, I think people are just about at that point where they're tired of waiting.
I agree. And he said the same damn thing. Because you know why? Like he said, two parents were on the live, and one kid is like 5 years old, and the kid's having like spasms at 5 years old. And he was like, God, my heart goes out to you, man. I hope that they come out soon. And then somebody else said their kid is dying or something. It's a young boy, and like a lot of people are waiting for these things because just like a lot of this stuff has been put onto us. Like, I don't think it would be that way if we weren't eating the types of foods with the things in it, and like what Josh was talking about, and, and what's in the waters, and you know what I mean? All this stuff. And you have to constantly detox yourself. And most people don't even know how to do that or what to do, or, or never even like, it's not even their awareness to fast or anything,
So in a sense, we could be spiritually clean right now, or cleaner spiritually than we are physically.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, but I think that a lot of things are happening behind the scenes, and I feel it, and I talk with the Galactic Federation and all this stuff, and they're all like here, like so many beings are here helping and assisting, like never before. I believe we're in different times,
I'm kind of on the fence about so much help coming our way. I'm kind of on the fence about that, but I think
I know what you're talking about though, but it's like the stepping in aspect, but like they are like, if we ask for the help, obviously what a lot of people say, which I think could be BS too, to like what Josh said earlier, is like it's easy to do, but like people don't know, oh, I'll just ask my angels or guides, and like they don't even know they exist, or they forget, or they're so in the 3D, and it's just that simple, to just ask. And or like Eric said, yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, a lot of it has been kept from us too. Yeah, so that's just a little bit of it, but yeah, I continually hold hope, man, because I think that I just believe that that's what I'm here for, to serve humanity, and I try to hold the light,
Hello.
There's our train.
Or the train boy again, and we got
Not to play the devil's advocate here,
Yeah,
but
go ahead,
first off,
please do, man.
have you? I mean, I've watched Ishmael. I know who he is. I know well. I've seen him get up and do laundry in the middle of his show, which is awesome.
Yeah.
It just humanizes him, which really makes it awesome. But the question becomes, and it's something to think about here. Where's he getting his info? Have you vetted his info? You're sitting here watching this guy. Keep this in mind, and this goes for your energies. If you're watching Ishmael, have you vetted his info? Do you know where he's getting his info? You have no idea, do you? I mean, I'm being honest. Do you? So you're watching him, but you're giving him this energy. You're holding your hope against somebody you haven't met, and you're holding your energy up against somebody you don't know if what he's telling you honestly is true or not, because you don't know where he's even getting his info, let alone vetting it. So I we're talking about energetics on a planet here, that on a planet or a gaming system, depending on how you want to see this, that you are not in control of. The only control you have is your toroidal field, your energetic field. So if you're giving your energetic field, keep this in mind, to Ishmael, and you're holding off based on Ishmael and what he's saying, and then taking your energetics truly based off of that, you're giving your power to Ishmael. So keep that in mind, and be careful, because you don't know, and there's no way to know. That's the thing. We're in this open toroidal field. If Ishmael is telling the truth or not, and if that's real, if any of what he's saying is he really channeling the Galactic Federation, or is he possessed? We don't even know.
No, but me personally, I go within myself, and I channel my own, like I channel the Divine Council of Nine, and I go within my. And if it doesn't resonate with me, I won't. I won't. Yeah, no, I don't give my power to him. I don't give it to anyone. I go within myself, and if it aligns with me and it resonates with me, then I and anybody I listen to, yeah, a lot of people, even I'll resonate with a couple things they say, and then half the things I don't. But it has to feel good, and it has to resonate deep inside me. For me to even give anybody my time, or my energy.
There you go. So it's about adding discernment to what we're watching them, because we have to be careful, because we are in this field. If they're trying to block the ascension through chemtrails so we don't get the central sun, and they're trying to block ascension through seed oils so we get mushy brain, and and if you notice, everything's seed oils now, and if they're trying to block ascension through GMO foods and fluoride in the water, then what's to say that all this super information that we're getting about this and that? Have you ever seen a med bed? No, we've seen pictures of it, we've seen renderings, but have we seen one? No, the closest thing we've ever seen is Jason Jason Schrucker's, whatever his last name.
Oh yeah,
his light codes and such, which would be the closest thing to the frequency stuff that they're talking about. So when we're adding up all these hopes here, we always have to, at least for myself, take it with a bit of a grain. Like, until this is there, I'm focusing on my universe. Until this is real and the outside's changed, which it's changing, but the only way to change the outside is for you to see the change in the outside, is to change inside yourself. If you don't change inside yourself, then you don't see the change, because everything is coming through us. So in order to see, right. So we got, it's a fine line, and on this deceptive field here, it's really kind of dangerous the energies can be kind of, you got to play that balance.
Oh yeah, I know, I agree, and I'm constantly doing the things like taking stuff to cleanse my pineal gland and my everything, so that I can stay connected and not lose my connection, because I know at other points in my life I did, and it can be I feel like that's lessening though with the veil thinning and with what's happening, and we're beginning to get even more and more information and more and more understanding as to what's happening, just in general. But I don't. Yeah, I'm glad you are devil's advocate. I like hearing other people's perspective.
Sure, and I don't say that what he's saying is true or not. I don't know because I can't vet it. I can say yes, a lot of it resonates with me, if that makes any sense. But really, what it boils down to for me is, even with all of that, if I'm going to sit here in this and worry, really, it's really more about worrying about what's going on in this frame and what I'm projecting out into the greater source field, because then I'm going to see it. I'm not even going to see that stuff if I start projecting more love, more centered, more helpfulness into the source field. All of that fades away. It doesn't matter, because the universe that I'm stepping into on Earth won't even contain, that's the new Earth, right? Doesn't even contain that stuff. It contains the love and the peace and whatever I'm trying to generate in my universe.
Mm-hmm. You know
That's
what? You know what I've been getting a lot of? Like, my guides are coming through, and when I channel, they want us to trust. Like, I'm getting more trust. Like, we have to trust what we cannot see. More and more. Like, trust that we're going to be okay. Trust that everything's working out. Trust that everything's going to fall into place. That it's divinely timed and orchestrated. That there's a master plan to it all. And that's the biggest thing that I like, surrender and trust, that what we can't see, like trusting that, our loved ones are here and we can communicate with them, or our guides, or whatever anybody trusts in, even though you can't see it, you can feel it, you can trust, and I do believe that's what's happening as we move forward. We have to trust that it's all unfolding perfectly, and these things are going to be available to us. And that's what I keep getting over and over again, that we're having to walk almost as if we can't see. We're blindfolded, and like blind trust, in a prime creator source,
and perhaps, I'm sorry, did I interrupt you, Eric?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Perhaps the med bed is not so much a physical thing as it is a spiritual thing. Think about it in that way, that we reach a certain vibrational frequency, and then we learn that we can heal these bodies.
Heal ourselves, yeah.
Yeah, instead of it being, so that's where it gets back, oh, you can't get within these med beds if you don't have a certain frequency. All right. But make it so much not a technological thing as it is something that we can do on our own. And we can realize those gifts are opened up to us. And maybe it's the complete decalcification of our pineal glands, however you say it. Or maybe it's DNA being unlocked, and all of a sudden we can go, okay, well, I want to heal my body, and, maybe put on some more muscle mass, or make my feet smaller, or whatever, or maybe I want to be 6'4", and have that ability just to change your body at thought, or even create things right there or maybe you hum a specific tone and you can create things, so maybe it's not so much technological as it is spiritual based, where we can actually uncover things that we're able to do. Maybe we can teleport. Who knows? Maybe we can fly.
Like Josh said, I think also as we go higher in frequency, more things are available to us. They're in our field, and as we go high, I think like the EE system is one of them. Wouldn't have been available to us probably 20 years ago, which it wasn't. I never even knew it existed.
What is that?
Like the thing Jason Shirker, which I actually used it. I went to a few of those places. It's called the EE system, but now I think he's calling it the light system or something, because there's been a huge scandal around it, that he went live a couple days ago or a week ago. Supposedly the person that owned it did not really own the rights to it. It was some guy named Robert that invented it. And she was claiming it was hers and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know, it's this whole thing. He's being sued by her and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, I went there. Oh, you didn't know? Yeah. It's like, whole thing, like, and he was really pissed off because she was talking stuff about his father, and his father just died like in March. So he
This
cried
is a
on the live.
spiritual person talking about another spiritual person.
Yeah. Apparently, like they've been making millions of dollars and not giving anything to the guy that owned the rights or created it. And basically, she's been saying she did. I don't know.
Get what you give.
Yeah, she went live, and he went live like a couple days ago and was talking about it. But anyway, I mean, you're 100% right. I agree with you, Victor, and I feel like as we go even higher, we won't need it. We're going to know we can heal ourselves within. But before that, I think the physical technologies are going to keep showing up, and depending on what, if we go to the 4D or the 5D Earth or whatever, But yeah, like Josh said, and like I said earlier, I just go with whatever resonates with me. I just won't take anything without checking in with myself and how I feel and how it feels to me. And
well, Beth Maven brings up a good point. It's good to have hope, and time will tell how it plays out. But see, I love the message of hope. That's probably what I grasp the most out of people like Ishmael or anything like that.
Yes.
And we have a wonderful family and it's almost like we nourish one another throughout the day. And it's great because we're keeping a vibrational frequency. We're maintaining it throughout our days, and I'm not just plugging my site or anything or plugging Josh, but we have this wonderful community where we flow and we stay
exactly.
flow. And think about that community flowing from one aspect of flow to another throughout the entire day, even into the night. All right. And think about that. We're maintaining a specific frequency. And I think people are realizing now how important our individual frequency can be on the overall environment around us. I do this thing, as I mentioned before, that I like to go out and clean the 5G signals. I know it sounds crazy or it sounds odd, but I do this big visualization where I go out and just clean the 5G because I look at it as being very weak, but it puts out this little throb and just keeps building and building. So it's real easy to cleanse. And I don't exactly know what I'm doing there. I just know that I'm cleansing it. And if there's something being sent out in that 5G signal, well, at least energetically, I'm going to try to clean. I'm going to do my bit, you see, for things like that. And we as individuals can go out there and do everything like that. We set and reinforce, like attracts like. We'll come back to that again. We set and reinforce one another throughout the day. And look at this wonderful group that we have here coming in and being part of our experience. They're adding their awesome ass energy. They're coming in and putting theirs in and helping it and helping us maintain this frequency. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
I agree with you, man. I totally agree with you. And I feel like, I don't even think it's even about like all the details that he says or any of these people say. I think, like you just said, the hope, because it does keep your frequency up, and it does, and it's like, I always, no matter what, had optimism for everything, no matter how bad it was for me throughout my life, I still always eventually it's had that optimistic attitude, and hope that one day it's going to be amazing, and there's no way that there could be so much suffering eventually, whatever it is, that's something that I always hold in my heart, the love I have for all of you and humanity and unity, consciousness and oneness, and
I try to look at it as I try to maximize my moments. And I like that. Gives me hope to hear you speak like that, because I think, it's great to sit and think, but I'm really focusing right now on this very moment and maximizing this moment for myself and being very present in this moment, be present in this moment, and be present. And because I spoke about this earlier at the dawning, not the dawning, at the sunrise. Josh is the dawning, but what I'm talking about is my early stream. And that is us maintaining. Think about it. If you have to get up and set yourself, maybe a couple years ago or 5 years ago, you'd get up and say, okay, well, I'm gonna be in love today. I'm gonna be in peace. I'm gonna be in joy throughout this day. But now we have that Ron Popeil effect of setting it and forgetting it. So we wake up in that state, and then look at that. Look how that look, that's basically a hill you've gotten over, because now you're not consciously saying, I'm going to be in love, I'm going to be in peace, I'm going to be in joy. You're waking up in that state automatically. And think about that when you wake up. So my current thing is being present in my moment, being present in my moment. That's what I'm really working on.
Mm-hmm.
So that way I wake up in that state instead of consciously saying, hey, be present in that moment, be present, maximize this moment. You follow me?
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, I do it every day. I feel like I'm in the present moment all the time, and the breath is. I just focus on my breath all the time. It keeps me present and in the moment, you know. And I think
tell us about that, please.
Well, I mean, you know, I've been.
How do we stay present in our breath?
Well, one practice that I would do all the time that really retrained my neural pathways and everything that I just came to myself is I would anything I would do, if you can't focus on your breath, like I literally go in and I'm just breathing consciously in and out, you know, which most people don't. And I used to not. Typically you hold your breath all the time and it brings you into reactive mode and everything. But like if you can't, I always recommend people to put their hand on their chest like this and just focus on your hand rising and falling to retrain yourself. And just, you know, just focus on the hand moving up and down, because it's just about retraining the habit, you know, because we're so used to not doing it and not focusing on the breath. But I'm so freaking passionate about it, because it's like we take our first breath and we take our last, and every single one of us have the breath. So we can say we have one thing that is all in common, you know, that we breathe. And if you don't, you're not here anymore, you know? And that's the one thing that will always bring you to the present moment. Always. There's no way, no shape, no how. And I feel like we equipped these bodies with the breath, the one tool that we haven't been taught to use, you know, the one most powerful tool. And so, you know, you see all my shirts. I wear all these shirts with like breathing, and I'm like, I've been doing breath work for like ever. And probably the last 10 years now, you know, breathe more, laugh more, love more. You know, I make all these shirts up, you know.
It's backwards.
And but you know, it's like that. I can give you guys a little tip too, that you could try. Because what you want to do is you want to like slow your exhale, like as slow as you can make the exhale. You know, that is the most important aspect of the breathing. You could do it when you breathe in, but when you breathe out, you want to slow it as much as you can. So I think I like showed Eric one time this, but it's also good to take pauses too, but I'm not going to do that on here. You know, we'll do that maybe next week or something. I'll do a little tip each time that could help. But I'll tell you what, if you just go ahead and you just breathe in as slow as you can, even on the inhale, but then the exhale is the one you want to, so you can use like 4 different ways to slow your exhale. You could use your throat and close your throat off like this. You hear how I have that, like that sound? So I'm like kind of closing off my throat.
Mm-hmm.
You can use that. You can use your tongue by touching the roof of your mouth, which will also lessen the amount of air that leaves. You can use your lips and seal it off so that you can slow the breath if any of those don't work, you know. You do it like once or twice or 3 times, man. I'm telling you right now, you're going to be so relaxed and so calm. You start to feel yourself going to the parasympathetic state. And it's the quickest way to relax, to calm, even go to sleep. Some people, it may take longer. I can lay down and do that. But it never used to be that way for me, you know? As I said, I was improperly breathing, I guess you could say, because now I could breathe that way, and the slower I exhale, the more calm I get, to the point where I'm almost unconscious, like asleep, you know. So yeah, I just if what I would try, like you guys try it, man, and when we meet up next week, man, let me know. You know, you put your hand on your chest if you can't, and just the more you can do it, the more you're retraining yourself to be conscious of the breath. And because again, as I said, we're not used to it, so it may be challenging. You know, I'm not going to say it isn't when you're walking to keep focusing on it and then try to focus on it when you're in a conversation. Everything, like, just put your focus on the breath as often as you can. Then it will get to the point where you don't need to anymore, and you will just be present.
Get to that Ron Popeil moment.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll tell you what. I'll just make this last statement. When I'm on this live with you guys, like, I don't think about what I'm gonna do an hour from now, 3 hours from now. But like 7 or 8 years ago, and way before that, I would go on a date, and I'd be out with a girl, and I'd be at the restaurant and thinking about what I could be doing. You know, like
3 hours from now.
no, like literally, like if I wasn't on that date, my mind would be thinking about like, oh yeah, you could be watching this TV show right now, or like doing this, or like it was always in the somewhere else. I was never like present. Yeah, like I don't. My mind doesn't go anywhere but like us talking. Like I'm present with you guys, and I used to have women even tell me, "Why are you always in your head?" Because if you're in your head, you're not in your heart. You're not present. You're either in the future or the past. You're either thinking about what you could do tomorrow or the next day or an hour from now. And I can tell you 7 to 10 years of redoing this, I'm present. And I don't even like really talking to people that always are talking about, what's your 5-year plan? Or what are you doing tomorrow or a month from now? Like, I feel like that's another way to get you out of the present moment. And they want you out of the present moment. Yeah. And because that's the way they can control you and put you in fear, because you're in the future or the past all the time. So you got depression and anxiety.
Oh, I'm talking about the flow state of being present, not the flow state of what they want you to be in.
Yeah.
So be clear.
Yeah, exactly. So
I know on my channel we've been doing breathing. It's kind of funny you said this, Darren, because I've been working the past couple of days. I had this revelation about a week ago that you lose your trauma, right? So you go through the dark night of the soul, but you don't lose your trauma reactions. Your body, it builds into your DNA. So if you don't regulate your nervous system, your trauma reactions are still going to be there 100%. And so what I've been, and people aren't teaching this. So what I've learned and woke up to was, hey, first off, it was originally to find peace, right? If I can find peace, then but that's morphed into exactly what Darren's doing. Literally doing what you call box breathing or cycling your breath every day, all the time. What that's done for me, I'm beginning to regulate my nervous system, which is beginning to kill the trauma reactions that I've been living under for all these years. The dervishness, the going crazy, this energy storing me out, flailing at this, whatever it is. In order to manifest anything in anybody's universe, right? You can't manifest if you're in a state of dervishment, if you're in a state of high cortisol, if you're in fear or lack or whatever, anxiety. So what I've learned is my trauma reactions because there's part 1 and part 2 of waking up, right? So the part 1 is going through the dark night. The part 2 is regulating the trauma reactions. And Darren's got it spot on there through breath is what I've been doing. And so this all ties, and we've added that into the channel, and it's starting to make a difference in people in the channel, because we don't think about that. You clear your dark night of the soul, you think you're going to be great. All right, so I don't. My mother's crazy. It's not me or whatever, and I'm good, and it's her issue, not mine, and we move on. But when somebody acts like our mother, our body still goes into that cortisol state. When we hear something that sounds like the trauma, our body will drop, and boom. We don't even realize it. All these dark thoughts will come in, whatever. Darren, spot on. Because regulating it by breath, regulating that nervous system, standing on top of it, that you end the trauma reactions, basically.
It's like, look, I'm like, I have breath everywhere. Okay, like look at this. Like these jackets we're gonna be selling. Like I just had them sent to me. Like you can't really see it because it's unzipped, but it says breathe. I got it like everywhere. I'm just like, cool. I feel like it's the one key thing that can change everything, and I know it from my own experience. And just like Josh was just saying, I know it. I'm so sure about it, and it's the one tool that we've equipped the body with, to literally, change everything. It's just we have to retrain it, and we have to retrain the nervous system, because it's been, most of us, probably 90-something% of humanity has been in survival mode probably their entire life.
Well, sure.
Totally.
One thing I appreciate let me interject real quick before we go. Josh,
Yeah.
I love that satisfied breath that we do.
Yeah,
at the
let's
end
do
of your
that real
show.
quick. I was going to show you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
that
Yeah,
real
yeah.
quick. Let's do it. So what I
Yeah.
do, I have a technique I use because to get into your heart chakra first and foremost. And so when I do breathing in the show, I'll do like 3 breaths, but then I have a technique, the satisfied technique. So, and this isn't mine. I don't know where I got a Carrie K. Somebody out there. on
It's
YouTube.
awesome regardless.
Nothing's generally original, and because we're all the same anyway. So, but it's still me, even if it came from somebody else, right? So, so if we bend over right here, where your breastplate and your chest meet and all that, right, and that one spot where your stomach and your rib cage meets, if you bend over and create a fold there, if you breathe in, and then as you release, you say the word satisfied in that bent space, it shoves your energy into your heart chakra. Satisfied.
Satisfied.
You dump right into your heart chakra. There's no way.
Oh,
You can't,
wow.
really. Yep. And then from there, if you keep your breath going, then you've got a good base right there to keep staying the up. You could be called the upper room if you by your higher self, your higher space, because it throws you right there.
Hmm.
And what it
Love
also does is it centers you into the moment, because at that moment, whatever's going on, you've now dumped into your satisfied heart space. So whatever is going on instantly clears away.
And I feel relaxed too.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it bypasses all that sitting there and trying to meditate. I got to get there. Oh, no. We don't have to, just to go back to what Victor is saying, to tie this all together, you don't have to sit there and do 20 minutes of Om. You can just do satisfied.
Yeah. Yeah. Breath. Come back to the breath. Always come back to the breath, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love this.
Always will center and ground you, man. Always. Yeah.
Well, even doing this, what I've learned.
Yeah. Another
Boom.
one.
Because you're dumping cortisol, you're lowering your blood pressure, anything to do that. And that's about keeping that nervous system regulated so we don't go whoo
Yep.
and into our trauma reactions. We can do anything if we stay in that balanced space. That's I've
And
learned
as
that.
long
Yeah.
as you do it like you're continuously doing it, you don't just wait till like everything is like shit hits the fan type of thing, because then it's like takes you longer to get from there, if
You have to get out of that state, and then that's when you have to go ground, or you need to
Yes,
talk
yeah.
to somebody, whatever it might be for you. But
yeah. So you just do it little by little, man, and it's like you could take on everything, man, and nothing is, and you're rebuilding the nervous system, which I think is so vital, man, and important as we go
exactly.
forward.
Most of our nervous systems are shot to holy hell. Let's be real.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I know Victor was in the military, so he's already got, and I was in the military, so that already does something to your nervous system on top of that, and then just life in general.
Yeah.
I like to think that my nervous system is on the repair, though.
Yeah,
Because
totally. Oh no, yeah.
We're completely different people than we were back in those
No,
days.
you guys are really calm, and you could tell you could tell somebody high strung, and or like you guys have definitely I think totally everybody.
It's just like acting like I'm always stoned, right? Just like how's it going, man? Right? If you have that kind of, that's the whole idea, though. Really, when you think about it, is just right. Exactly.
Oh man, I loved it. This was awesome.
Hey, it's been great. I need to go, Darren.
Yeah,
and
man.
Eric, Josh. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, everybody. Eric, Josh, Victor,
and all of you people in chat. Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you guys for the invite. As always, grateful.
Thank you guys, and see you next week.
See you next week.
All right. Namaste.
Love you guys.
Love you guys, man.
Love you guys.
I guess I